Okay, here we will start with the lesson 3, two stories about flying. In this article, you will be reading two stories about flying, which is present in two parts. The author of the part 1 titled his first flight is Liam O'Hardy, while the author of part 2 is titled with the black aeroplane is Frederick Forsyth. In the first part, the readers come to know about the younger bird seagull, and the bird is very afraid to fly for the first time, which is having fear to fly. We can say that it feels that its wings will not support while flying, and the writer gives a beautiful narration of the story about how the bird overcomes his fear. Okay, so let's start with the lesson part 1, his first flight. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. What is ledge? That is a narrow horizontal surface. His two brothers and sisters had already flown away the day before. He had been afraid to fly with him, but the seagull is having afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run towards the brink of the ledge. What is brink? That is extreme edge of land. Okay, um, of the ledge, and attempted to flap his wings. He became afraid. Then he is having fear of not able to fly. Fear of means to get. It is very hard to fly for him. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down, and that is very fiery for that bird to fly. He felt certain that his wings would never support him. What he felt, that his wings would never support him while flying. So he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. He ran back to that ledge where he slept at night, even when each of his brothers and his sisters, whose wings were far shorter then his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings, and flew away. But his brothers and sisters, even their wings are shorter than his, they ran to the brink and flapped their wings and flew away. He failed to muster up courage. Muster up courage means, what is the meaning of muster? Assemble. It is very hard to get or find, means to put up your courage for flying, to take that plunge. And what is plunge? Plunge is jump or dive, which appeared to him so desperate. Desperate is the feeling or showing a hopeless sense that a situation is so bad to be impossible to deal with. So that is desperate for that word. It which seems appear to be him so desperate, and his father and mother had come around calling him Shirley. Here, Shirley means high pitched, loud voice. Upbraiding him. Upbraiding is scolding him. Threatening means frightening quality or manner, to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. Starve means suffer or die from hunger because he is not able to fly. That's why maybe he will starve. But for the life of him, he could not move. But for the life means he is frightened, he is having fear of his life. That's why he could not move. That for 24 hours ago, since then nobody had come near him. 24 hours ago, since then nobody come near to him, near to that bird. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sisters, perfecting him in the art of flight. Means giving training for flying, teaching them how to skim. What is skim? Skim is to move lightly just above a surface, that is skim, the waves, and how to dive for fish, and catch the fish from the water. And then dive for fish. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it. Herring means a soft fine sea fish, and devour it means eat hungrily or quickly. devour it. Standing on a rock while his parents circle around, raising a proud cackle. Cackle is the sound or laughing loudly, and all the morning the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him with his cowardice. They all means it seems like they all are taunting, they all are when their parents giving training to his brothers and sister. So he feels like they are taunting him, they are for their cowardness. The sun was now ascending the sky, blazing on his ledge that faced the south. Now he felt the heat because he had not eaten some previous nightfall. He has not eaten anything from the previous nightfall, means previous night. So now he is feeling heat, he is very hungry now. He stepped slowly out to the brink of the ledge and standing on one leg. Now he stepped out of the brink on the ledge and standing on one leg with the other leg hidden under his wings, and then he closed one eye and then the other eye, and what he pretended to be falling asleep. He pretended to be falling asleep, and still they took no notice of him. Still they are his father, his brothers and sisters are not taking any notice of him. He saw his two brothers and his sister lying on the plateau, dozing with their heads sunk into their neck. They are dozing. His father was preening the feathers. Preening means cleaning, tidy or cleaning the feather. They are maintaining their feathers on his white back. Only his mother was looking at him. Only his mother was looking at him, and she was standing on a little high hump on the plateau. He was standing on the little high place on the plateau. Her white breast thrust forward now and again. Thrust means to push somebody, to push forward. Now and again she tore at a piece of fish, and that lay in her feet, and that she just tore a fish and that lay at her feet, and then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. Means scraped here. He is sharpening the beak and then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. The sight of the food maddened him. Maddened means here something to make extremely annoyed. This make him extremely annoyed. How he loved to tear food that way. He also loved to tear food that way, and scraping his beak now and again to wet it. Wet it means to sharpen it. And he also loved to tear that food, and scraping his beak now and again to wet it. So he also loved. He is now maddened about that, means extremely annoyed, feeling annoyed. Ga ga ga, he cried, begging her to bring him some food. Now he is begging for food by making sound of ga ga ga, and Gao Kola, she screamed back derisively. Now she screamed, his mother screamed back derisively, but he kept calling plaintively and derisively. Plaintively, and after a minute, derisively means a manner showing someone he or she is stupid. And plaintively is showing sorrow or expressing sorrow. Okay. His mother had picked up a piece of fish. Now his mother picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. He leaned eagerly. Now he leaned eagerly for the fish because he was very hungry. Eagerly tapping the rock with his feet, trying to get nearer to her. He is now trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted, her wings motionless in the air, and the piece of fish in her beak almost within reach of his beak. He waited a moment in surprise, and he waited for a moment in surprise that she will give that piece of fish into her mouth, wondering why she did not come nearer. And then he wondered that why she is not coming nearer to him. And then maddened by hunger, he was maddened by hunger. He was make extremely annoyed by hunger. He dived at the fish. Then he dived at the fish with a loud scream. he fell towards and downward into the space. Then monstrous terror seized him, and his heart stood still. Now his heart stood still. He could hear nothing. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a minute. The next moment he felt his wings. He just pushed himself towards the fish, but it only lasted a minute. That in a minute, the next moment he felt his wings spread outwards. His wings spread outwards, and he could feel the tips of the wings cutting through the air, and he is feeling in the wings that the air is cutting through his wings, and he was falling headlong now. And now he was falling headlong means with head foremost. He was soaring gradually. Now he was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. His wings now flapping in the air. He was no longer afraid. Now he was no longer afraid. He is not having fear in the air. He just felt a bit dizzy. He is feeling a bit dizzy. Dizzy means uncomfortable feeling of spinning around because of one's balance. Then he flapped his wings once and he soared upward, and he flapped his wings once again and he soared. Ga 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 kala. His mother swooped past him, his wings making a loud noise, and he feels that his wings making a loud noise. Now he answered her with another scream, and he answered with her with another scream. Then his father flew over him screaming, and his father also flew over him, and he saw his brothers, two brothers and sisters also flying around him, curvating and banking, soaring and diving. Curvating means leaping like a horse. Banking is flying with one wing higher than the other. So they are soaring and diving. Soaring means flying or rising high in the air. Now he is able to fly in the air with no fear. He is not having any fear now in the flying. He was near the sea now. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly. He completely forgot that he was not able to fly, and commended himself to dive and soar and curve and shrieking shrilly. Shrieking means making a high pitched sound while flying. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him. Now he is very happy with little ridges. Ridges is a um, long narrow highland moving over it, and he turned his beak sideways and cawed amusedly. To amusedly means to cry with rough sound. Okay, his parents and his brothers and sister had landed on this green flooring ahead of him. Now they all are landed on that green flooring ahead of him, and they were beckoning to him. Beckoning means to make gestures, calling Shirley. He dropped his leg to stand on that green sea, and his legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again. Now he just screamed and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. But he was now tired and feeling weak with hunger because he has not eaten anything, and he could not rise, exhausted. And he is not able to rise because he was exhausted by the strange exercise. By the strange exercise means that flight, because of that first flight. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no further. And then he touched his belly touched it, and he sank no further. He was just floating on that surface, and around him his family was screaming happily, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish just to eat, that he had made his first flight. Okay, thank you.